What up, all you poker bro and broettes? It's your boy Bangarang Rufio in the poker house. We're about to jump right into a tournament edition. Several tournaments. I want to say a $30, a 20, a 50, and a 75. Going for that thousandnaire maker again. Try to win back-to-back nights. Let's just jump right into it. This is the 6,000 guaranteed extra play, 20-minute levels, $20 buy-in, some real good value. As you can see, I just like to show off my folds with apple juice because it's so fun not losing any money with that hand. Here we are in the 5,000. This is a $50 buy-in, 250. What is this? Ace King versus Ace Queen, and as you can see, it goes choppity chop chop. Guy hits on the riv. To split that with me, unfortunately, which sucks. Blinds are huge at this point. 3 and 6,000 with a 600 ante. I'm forced to play this King 10. I can't believe he actually had nines when he shoved into me. Battle of the blinds, but I prevail. And we take it down with our pair of tens turning into a straight. As you can see, I just like showing folding that casual call of 3,000 because you never know when the big blind might just raise it up. So it's never just a free half bet right there. King Jack. Can it hold? Certainly. Great spot to win some chips, always against that draw. Not really a fan of the draw as much as I am the top. I decided to fold these sixes against the UTG, which is questionable, but then when you see the re-raise right behind me, you kind of thank yourself for not getting sandwiched in between a monster or two and giving in. Once again, look at this. You know, you may be tempted to play that Kojak, but then when it goes 1, 2, 3 bet 4, all of a sudden you're like, wowzas, you know, got out of that. And of course, you would have missed completely. Pocket queens. Gotta love them, gotta play them. Gotta hope that they hold. And of course, for a huge pot, the guy hits an 8 on the river, which stings. You know, when you're up against ace queen and 8, you're looking at 2 5 outs at most. 5 4 3 2 1. So that's unfortunate. 17th place still nets us some cash, which is cool. A nice run, to say the least. What is this? Apple juice suited again? Is this deja vu? Folding it. The nightly 30,000 is a $50 buy-in. Good tournament. Start off with 7,500 in chips. I want to say 12-minute level, so there's a lot of great play. And of course, you know, a nice chunk of change that you're playing for. So yeah, I felt like I had some deep runs lately. And, you know, it's always a good feeling when you make it deep into any tournament. And then when you make it deep into a multitude of tournaments, you know, you start thinking, okay, you know, my recipe, my alchemy, you know, because that's what it comes down to is what kind of recipe, you know, what kind of poker recipe am I plugging into each tournament? Because it's not like I'm playing one tournament completely different than another. I mean, technically, you do have that free poker will to say, hey, this time I want to try out a different strategy. And I think that's a good thing to, you know, say, hey, you know what, this time I'm going to be, you know, a call station. And this time I'm going to be super aggressive, and this time I'm gonna, only three bet, and try it out, and see how far you can get with it. Got lucky with that ace nine, I just felt like the game was saying, hey, you gotta play this, and it was our time to, win a hand. Kind of forced to play that king six, and you see, kind of, it's way too dangerous of a board to get involved, and we see that very quickly. Tens, such a tough hand to play, especially when you get re-raised. We pick up a 35th place in that 20. So yeah, a deep run for sure. But once you get into the money, it's not going to get any more significant until you really ladder up about the final table, which is kind of propels you to be able to really start going gung-ho once you start making it into the money. Although you're really supposed to really start getting aggressive right before and on the bubble. Gotta love the kings. And hope that they hold against that draw once again, our favorite spot. And sure enough, we stay alive in the nightly 50, which is great. We also have this 12,000 guaranteed the dozen. It's a $40 buy-in. So once again, yeah, we're playing some of the meatier tournaments, which is great. It's a good feeling when you play the $30, 5K, the $20 6K. You play the 30 grand, $50 buy-in. You play the $40 dozen. These are all, it's a privilege to be able to play in the bigger tournaments, and you want to remember that when you're in the middle of them, So you don't want to give anything away. You don't want to start playing loose or sloppy, because if you want to play in these games, you're going to have to make the money and win to continue. That's how it works. And once you start winning, and you start getting to play in these more privileged games, I think you actually start skilling up, because you start taking the game more serious. It can be hard for someone, that's been playing for a while like myself to drop down limits and to take a dollar, tournament serious, a $5 tournament serious. So, you got to be really appreciative that you're, playing a higher stakes game. I like I said, I feel like now I'm into the game so much, I'm so in tuned that my skill, of, that, that desire to play my best game, shines out, it comes out for sure. Which is what I want. I want to get so into it that I want to start snapping off photos and start making a video. That's when I know I'm like totally into it, when I'm just like, okay, let's dive deep, as possible, and really just try to like figure this out and see, where I'm going good, where I'm not. Ace queen, with top pair, even though this guy wants to show some aggression, I cannot just let him have it. So I like to go over that top with that double bet to see where he wants to go with it. If he re-raises, we can, I think fold, and if he calls, we can say, hey, we're ahead. We do get some real nice action, flop, and the turn. He ends up mucking on the river, so I question what he has. I'm not really sure if it was a draw or second pair, like something like ace jack. Ace king suited. Unfortunately, I miss. He puts a chunky bet out, and there's no reason to continue. As you can see, nothing in it for me. I think you should just get out cheaply. Pocket tens, I limp in because if someone raises, I have the choice to call, versus if I raise and then someone re-raises, most likely I'm going to have to let it go. And because of my position, that's the way I like to play it. And from experience, I've learned, I get punished if I do raise. Some might argue, you have to re-raise. Here's a missed opportunity with ace 10. What a flop. Look at that. You flop the straight and the nut flush. It actually turns into the nut flush. Although there's a boat possibility, he only has trips to give you that action. Unfortunately, I just didn't get in there. First in with ace 10, late position, I feel like is, even though I don't maybe like ace 10, I feel like it's mandatory. And, I really don't want to soft play. So I go ahead and play it hard. And fortunately, I actually feel like I got him off of a draw, like a flush draw, and it hits on the turn on that rabbit that we get to see. So, I'm really proud of myself for not soft playing that position. I feel like I know better. Questionable king queen that ended up looking pretty good. Queen jack, questionable. King queen, once again, questionable, pretty good. But as we can see, this hand mount up, the pot starts growing significantly. And what do we really have? An inside straight draw. We're looking for a king. And if we hit a heart, we have the second. And if we hit that king, we could still be up against something, bigger, like a made flush. It just looks too much like a payoff hand to want to continue. So we're doing, pretty good in both these tournaments. Pick up a nice pair of jacks, and this guy just shoves on the button, which is great, and we're up against a sloppy a7. Just a complete payoff hand and position right there for us, which is great. And fortunately, he does shove, because that would be a tough hand to play after the two overs. We ended up making a flush on his ace hit, which is great. In the very next hand, we pick up pocket tens against a double bet from that big stack early position. And I just know that I'm in for a world of hurt. And sure enough, I thought I could just call and get off of it, because and sure enough, when he bets and I'm looking at this flop, I'm thinking, God, can I just fold so quickly to his one bet? And I'm like, I can't. Let's find out where we're at. I double his bet, and when he shoves, I want to vomit, poker vomit right there. And at that point, I'm just thinking, I just can't imagine calling at that point. What can we really beat that he would make that move on? I mean, it's possible he could have something like nines, eights. It's just reeks of so much confidence that I think he's just got us beat, And that's just so unfortunate, because we gave away everything that we just made on those jacks with those tens. It's a very tough spot right there. Ace queen. As you can see, we both have ace queen. We're up against, suited connector and a king 9 suited. And that guy hits 2 pair on the river to suck out on both of our ace queens. I got rid of it, so I actually didn't lose anything, which was great. Huge fold. I check the flop, which is great, and end up hitting a set on the turn. And let's just welcome all of us to the 5,000 guaranteed thousandnaire maker. I make a boat on the river, and I try to go in for some value, and he shuts down, but still happy to take down that pot. I'm defending my title, as I like to say it, from last night, the previous night before, when I actually became a thousandnaire maker. And I decided to go for, a second run at it. Ace 8 suited, we got pocket fours, which is a questionable spot, somewhat tempting. ace king suited, ace queen suited. Obviously now super short stacked. There's nothing I can do but play and be happy that I pick up something so delicious. And unfortunately, his eights just hold up like steel, which happened. And I don't make the best run, 245th place in that, 50, unfortunately. King 10 suited in the thousandnaire maker. I feel like the guy defending has to have an ace, and he slow played the flop, which convinced me to bet the turn. I don't like that bet on the turn. So I think that was definitely a blunder on my end. Pick up queens. And I decide to not slow play, and we actually get him to call a 3-bet. So a super chunky pot. And I decided going for some deception. I have this plan of 1-betting the flop and then checking to him on the turn. And I want him to devour me and that 1300 in the pot. But he does not fall for it. And now we're looking at a 4-card straight on the board. And I just go in for just some value, thinking there's maybe some potential there, and he folds. So with some relief, we actually take down that nice pot, which is truly needed. Folds around to me with ace 10 suited. I think, we got to put it up a little bit. I just double it. He folds. I'll take it down. That works for me. Pick up a nice ace king. I decided just flat. This guy's under the gun raise, which is nice because at this point, when we brick the flop, he checks. I can just say, hey, you know what? I can be done with the hand. We're still in the dozen. I shove with that ace queen, standard play right there. I feel like, and look at this. He bets 600. I think maybe it's an overbet on 4 and 8. And sure enough, ace queen versus eights. We've been in this spot before. We were in this spot earlier in the tournament, and eights look like they're going to hold up like steel. And once again, ace queen is going to cost me. Wait, hold on. Not the tournament. That's a double up. Ooh, love it. So once we win a flip on the river, close one, super close. And the nice thing is we see that we break out with that ace queen, or excuse me, that ace king, and we ended up losing 170. Yeah, it's just so much value in not getting overly involved in that spot, which I love. I have a choice. I can do that if I want. It's not mandatory to re-raise and then to follow through. Because I'll tell you, if I do re-raise, he's either going to re-raise or call, and then he's going to check raise my ass on the flop, and it's going to hurt really bad. King 10. If we could have survived the heat, we could have picked up some trips. That's a huge bet. And then he goes over the top, and I'm thinking, oh my god, what can I beat at this point? And I got the cooler, okay? He's got king jack. He's got me pipped with that jack. I make a huge fold pre-flop. Not a huge fold, but, good thing I didn't get involved because it could have cost me the entire tournament. We're still alive in the dozen. And once again, ace queen getting played and banging that flop and winning us some chips. We're in the thousandnaire maker. I decided to just, check out a flop with that 10-8 suited and pick up a interesting draw. And we look at this action with the ace queen hand in the dozen top pair. I decided to just throw it in, and he has kings, unfortunately. And honestly, the way that he played it, it was kind of obvious that he had kings and that I had the cooler. And I think if I really would have zoned in on that, honed in on my skills, I could have got off of that, potentially pre-flop. I know, it's crazy, but he showed so much strength. he wasn't scared, and just didn't feel like he had a queen, didn't feel like he had anything less than that, and after all the deductions, it just, screamed of like king's races. Cost me the tournament too, you got to think about that. Look at this. I felt like I had to play this ace jack suited, and we flopped just the nuts. And I just see what this guy wants to do off like kind of like a mini bet. And once again, I try to go in for the illusion of weakness, and he doesn't bite either. And unfortunately, there's a boat option out there, and I go in for a bluff bet aggressive 590, and he bites on that, which was great. So we got paid off. Not sure by what. I'm really curious to find out what was he playing at that point. Nonetheless, we take some great value. We do pick up a pair of sevens, and I just play it coy. We got the dirty diamond club theory, and this is a questionable spot, especially when it goes check, check, check. Ace king, short stack, still in that dozen after we lost with that ace queen. We got action by like a jack four defender, and he spikes, and we lose, and we're out in 125th, unfortunately. But back to the sevens. Look at this. When that second king hits and there's no action on the flop, I'm thinking, wow, my hand just feels good. And it's definitely not when he just pops it up. And I'm thinking, wow, this guy has queen ten of diamonds, you know, or quad kings. I don't know, but he's got us for sure. And we fell into it. And lost an extra bet right there. Ace Jack, early position. I decided to dump it, and I'm pretty sure it was for the better. Ace 5 suited just always looks tempting. Always kind of looks like a piece of candy hand that you want to, start nibbling on. But just to show you that, nothing would amount from it except for lost chips. Ace 10. I make a fold, and I'm not sure if that was the right decision, but when I see that second king hits on the turn, it just washes me full of relief, because at that point, I just know I'm up against it, and, I just saved myself a lot of pain, I mean, unless I would have played super aggressive, like a re-raise on the pre-flop, and then like a push hard on the flop, maybe, But once we get to that turn, it's over for me. So I pick up queens under the gun, and you just got to love to see them. And keep in mind, we did get paid with a pair of queens earlier, and here we are, fortunate enough to pick up another pair of queens. I mean, you can go all tournament without picking up a pair of queens. So, I mean, this is just awesome. And we get action. Now, unfortunately, when it comes king high, it just puts me in a peculiar situation, because we do have a nice backdoor, which we hit. And I think it ends up going just check, 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 check. And then I think I bet he folds. And that's not the best way to play it. I think I should have threw in tiny value on the flop and on the turn. Get rid of this ace 8 because I feel like it's a trap. So I walk him, and that's fine. Queen Jack, interesting enough, could have netted us some chips if they would have got us to the turn. But that's two people, a lot of action on the flop, and I just don't think we would have gotten there. End up picking up aces right after, just feeling like we're getting rewarded possibly for making it this far, playing so well. I decided to just go in for a nice min bet, try to get some action, because we are short stacked on 2 and 400 with just our starting 2500. And sure enough, we get the action that we want, for better or worse, and he's got that draw. No club, and we're good to go. Come on, baby doll, let's go, let's go, let's go, And sure enough, he breaks it out, and we take it 100%. And that brings us up to a nice 5K stack, and shortly after, we do pick up pocket queens for a third time, and this guy makes it 2K, which is just a weird bet. And I'm excited though, because I'm thinking he's got to play now that he's pot committed, and we get action from a guy behind, and he's got king jack versus ace jack, or excuse me, versus ace king versus queens. Two kings are out. The jack's no good, and the ace, we're down to a 5-4-3-2 out, and he spikes on the flop for a 15K pot, and we are out like trout in 24th. And I gotta tell you, that hurt, because I was on my way to victory in the thousandnaire maker once again. So that was my sesh yesterday, tournament edition. And as you can see, we did pull out a couple, finishes in the money, a couple finishes outside the money. The 75 didn't go well, the 40 nor the 50. We did get paid in the 30 for a 17th place, and we got paid in the 20. So just the session, and just to kind of look at the good and the bad.